Hi, I'm Trisha J. Wooldridge, and I am a novel friend. A novel friend is the business that I started some time ago to encompass my editing, my writing, being an author, and everything I love about words, because words are a bridge between people for communications, a way to build relationships, and as corny as it sounds, to make the world a better place. Hello, YouTube and everyone following me. This is Trish from A Novel Friend. Today we have a little bit of a different video for you. It's not a reading, it's not a performance of something. When I put this together, I mentioned maybe rants or discussions about editing, the writing life, and this video falls into that. And I had a plan. I was going to talk about NaNoWriMo, which I do as an editor, whether I was working for a publishing house or whether people are sending me stuff that they eventually want to self-publish, indie publish, or send out. They will send me their NaNoWriMo draft. And I was going to talk about why you shouldn't do that. So I'm just going to leave that at that, and I'll maybe leave that for another rant, maybe in December when I've gotten someone else's NaNoWriMo first draft. Because the idea is to get 50,000 words down in a month. You don't self-edit, you don't go back, you just try and literally puke out all the words. And I say literally not necessarily as too much of an exaggeration, because I know people that do end up making themselves sick trying to get out that much a month, and I do edit a lot of horror stuff, so there is puke on the page. Don't do that either. Send a clean manuscript. Anyway, but what I decided to talk about today, instead of ranting about why you shouldn't send your first NaNoWriMo draft to anyone, is more about a piece of advice that I tell other people that I find very hard to follow. So this is going to be more of an editorial writing confessional as opposed to an editorial writing rant. Not nearly as entertaining, probably, but hopefully it will help some of you, because this is a difficult thing that I know writers have to deal with a lot. So, what I'm going to talk about is writing outside of the professional realm, and in general creating outside of the professional realm, or even in a sense as part of the professional realm, but not as a publishable or sellable product. Here's the thing. As creators, as writers very much, but many different types of artists, we make crap for money, and we're very often devalued in society, and so we feel every single thing we need to do needs to count, needs to go towards the paycheck, needs to matter. And it does matter, but not always in the ways that we see. So if you take a look at any artist, anyone who does a professional sport, a professional performer, a professional dancer, they do a lot of practice. And writers, when we put words down on paper, and I see this even more lately with the growth of independent publishing, with the growth of self-publishing, people will put whatever they write out there and publish it. And it might not be ready for that. You might have just needed to write that for you. The reason that I'm talking about that is that I had a kind of difficult time this weekend, and I'm going to put a disclaimer for all the people in my family and friends who love me, who are going to call and say, "Trish, are you okay?" So Mom, I'm okay. Friends, I'm okay. And it's okay, and as a general rule, and it's something I also need to learn for myself, it's also okay to be not okay. Keep that in mind. I am my own worst critic. I'm telling this all to you. Keep in mind I've got this little voice in my head who's like, get stuff done, work on stuff, you're wasting your time. It's there for me as well. And pushing you, that whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps no matter what is a fairly toxic idea as well. We need time for ourselves. Maybe I'll have another writer editorial confessional about the whole stigma of mental illness, of neuroatypicality. But right now, I've got like a 10-minute YouTube video that I want to make, and I'm blabbering. So, this weekend was kind of a very hard weekend for me for a few reasons. But long story short, I ended up having, and I actually did speak with my therapist this morning. It's a normal thing for neuroatypical. Keep that in mind. So it was like emotionally depressive, but also hyper-focused manic. So basically what I did is I wrote almost 20,000 words, which is a lot for those of you who aren't like regular writers, within a 12-hour time span, getting up to go to the bathroom and feed the cat. And that's all I did for 12 hours. And I didn't even realize I was spending that much time doing that. Also, that just about 20,000 words is not going to be shared, probably ever, with anyone. It was dark, even for me, and also not content that I wrote for the purpose of sharing or consuming. I wrote it for me, and I needed to write that for me. I needed to spend that time, get it out of my head, put it on paper, go through the act of actually typing it up, saving it, rereading it. But if I can weave something into fiction, no matter how crappy or weird or dark or out there it is, that's the best way my brain deals with stuff. And it doesn't have to be something that I share. It doesn't have to be something that I publish. It just needs to be written. I wanted to share that with you guys because if you're writers, if you're creators, if you're artists, if you make things, it's important to let yourself make stuff for you. That's not going to be shared. That's not going to be published. And it's even more important to shut that annoying little voice in your head up that says, this is a waste of time. This is not billable hours. And it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to not feel guilty about it. And you need to not be angry at yourself about it because it's not a waste of time. It's not useless. That's the hardest thing sometimes we have to deal with. Again, because most writers get paid crapola. Most editors who are doing it freelance get paid crapola. It takes a lot of work to make a living as a writer, as an editor, even as a journalist. So when you take that time to do you writing, to do the mental health writing, to do the brain cleanup writing, you feel guilty because it's so hard to make money. But we need to balance that. We need to not feel that guilt. And the thing is that feeling that guilt just makes it harder to get back to the publishable stuff, the actual, this is my career writing, or this is my career editing, because that weighs on you and it just gunks up your brain, so you don't have that clarity to move forward onto the writing that you want to sell, the editing that you have deadlines for. So this is me also trying not to be a hypocrite by telling you to do this, knowing that that little voice is still there. But sometimes teaching and sharing is also a way of dealing and a way of coping, and a way of like giving the little finger to that voice in your head. Because I know it's true. Logically, I know it's true. I know enough about psychology. My therapist confirms it. My doctors confirm it. the amount of reading and research I've done confirms that we need to create for ourselves as well as for production. So that's what I wanted to share with you with this YouTube video. This is my little confessional video. Be okay with writing for yourself. Be okay with writing crap that you're never going to share, but that you take joy in. And I even shouldn't be calling it crap, because I really enjoyed writing that. It was a lot of fun and it fed my brain. So in that sense, no, it wasn't crap. It was a healthy thing to do. So we need to take that time and write for ourselves and create for ourselves and not feel guilty about it and not feel pressured that we have to share everything we create. And that is still part of our career, our dream, our goal. The practice part, the part that's just for us, that's just as important as the stuff we share that the world gets to see, that we hopefully get a check for. Because it's taking that time to explore what's going on in our heads, to play with the craft, to take out those demons and work with them and maybe have a conversation with them. That is every bit as important as the stuff that you produce to share, to sell, to promote. It's just as important. And we need to remember that for ourselves and for each other as well, because we can also be just as cruel to each other in our heads, thinking, well, you know, why is it taking George R.R. Martin so long to write the next Game of Thrones? Maybe he has some demons to work out. Maybe he needs to get some of his own head writing done. We need to give that to each other as artists, as creators. So keep that in mind. Be kind to yourself, to other writers. Let yourself create for yourself and feed your own dreams, your own needs. Play with your own demons. Work them out and take joy in that, even if it's difficult. Feel accomplished that you did that. So, you know, those just under 20,000 words, that's totally going on my NaNoWriMo count, because that's 20,000 words that I wrote. And I'm proud of them. Y'all ain't gonna see them, but I'm proud of them. And be proud of all the things you write, all the things you create, whether it's art, music, dancing, acting. Be proud of all the things that you do on your own. Don't feel guilty about them. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't beat other people up over it. And let it be okay that you're creating stuff for you that's not for sale, that's not for publishing, that's not even for sharing. So that's my editorial writer confessional for November. Again, I hope you got something out of it. I hope that maybe I made you feel better if you needed to take some time and write for yourself. If you spent NaNoWriMo writing Harry Potter smut fan fiction because damn it you needed to, go you, count those words. I did include some of the information about NaNoWriMo below in the links. I also included information about the Hold On to the Light campaign down in the links. If you are a creator and you have mental illness, neuroatypical personality, however you want to label that, that's healthiest for you, check that out. And nearly all of the creators that I know are going through something. And nearly all of the creators I know go through dark times. So if I've never met you, I want you to know that I love you and I support you. Do what you need for you. If you like the content that I'm creating, feel free to subscribe, or if you have any comments, if you're going through a really tough time and you want to share, feel free to share that you've gone through that in the comments. If you think someone else might benefit from hearing thank you so much for all of you who have been watching and following and subscribing. Next month in December, I will go back to like reading and performing. Those are still little pieces of my soul, trust me on that. And next time I need to do a rant or confessional, I will toss that in there. Until then, may you have really good words and take care of yourselves. Bye.